start with the 1974 1-cent coin. This penny comes from a time when the cost of producing the penny was a hot topic in the United States. Inflation in the 1970s was a significant issue, and the rising cost of copper led to an important experiment involving the 1974 penny. In addition to the billions of copper pennies minted that year, the U.S. Mint also produced a small number of experimental aluminum pennies. These aluminum coins, while never released for circulation, have become legendary in numismatic circles. They were intended to reduce production costs, but the concept was abandoned after concerns about their impact on vending machines and durability. The regular 1974 Lincoln cent continued with its traditional copper alloy composition, weighing 3.11 grams and featuring the design introduced by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The obverse of the 1974 penny hoke cases Abraham Lincoln's right-facing profile with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1974 to the right. Some coins bear a mint mark such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco, indicating where they were minted. The obverse displays the iconic Lincoln Memorial, complete with the tiny but visible image of Lincoln seated inside. The inscriptions "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum" frame the memorial, with over 4.2 billion coins struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and an additional 409 million proofs minted in San Francisco. The 1974 penny is far from rare. However, its large mintage doesn't mean it lacks value. Collectors are always on the lookout for high-grade examples in mint state, particularly those graded MS-67 or higher, which can be worth $150 to $300 or more. Additionally, error coins such as double-die obverse or reverse pennies and off-center strikes can bring premiums ranging from $20 to several $100s, depending on the severity of the error. Next, moving on to the 1973 1-cent coin, we find another fascinating chapter in the story of the Lincoln cent. Produced just 1 year before the aluminium penny experiment, the 1973 penny also hails from an era when the U.S. Mint was grappling with the rising cost of coin production. Like the 1974 cent, it features the classic Lincoln portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The 1973 penny was struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, with no mint mark on coins from Philadelphia, a D for Denver, and an S for proof coins from San Francisco. In total, over 3.7 billion pennies were minted in Philadelphia, 3.5 billion in Denver, and around 3 million proofs in San Francisco. While most 1973 pennies found in circulation are worth only their face value, there are exceptions. High-grade specimens, particularly those graded MS-67 or higher, can command values of $250 or more. Proof coins with deep cameo contrast are especially prized by collectors and can be worth $50 or more, depending on their condition. Error coins are another area of interest. Double-die pennies from 1973, where doubling appears in the inscriptions or design elements, are highly collectible and can fetch significant prices. Off-center strikes and other minting errors also add to the coin's appeal for collectors. The 1973 penny remains a favorite among enthusiasts, particularly for those who enjoy hunting for errors or assembling complete sets of Lincoln cents. Next, look at the 1994 1-cent coin. By the 1990s, the Lincoln cent was firmly established as a staple of American coinage, and the mint continued to refine its production techniques. The 1994 penny is struck in a copper-plated zinc composition weighing 2.5 grams, a change made in 1982 to address the high cost of copper. Despite this change in material, the design elements remain consistent with earlier pennies. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's profile with "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1994 to the right. Coins from Denver bear a D mint mark, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark. The reverse depicts the Lincoln Memorial, complete with the inscription "United States of America" and "E Pluribus Unum." With over 6.5 billion coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint and over 7.1 billion at the Denver Mint, the 1994 penny is one of the most common Lincoln cents in circulation. However, like its predecessors, it offers opportunities for collectors. High-grade examples graded MS-68 or higher are rare and can be valued at $150 to $400. Errors are also of interest, particularly double-die pennies and off-center strikes. Die cracks and other minor minting anomalies can also add value, making the 1994 penny an intriguing find for collectors who enjoy searching through rolls of pennies or coin jars. Next coin is the 1968 Lincoln cent. This coin carries a lot of history, being minted during a pivotal era in U.S. history. 1968 was a turbulent year for the United States. It marked a time of political upheaval and cultural change, with events like the Vietnam War protests and the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy. The Lincoln cent, already a symbol of enduring values, continued to remind Americans of unity and perseverance. Designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, the Lincoln cent design remained largely unchanged in 1968. On the obverse, we see the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, with "In God We Trust" inscribed above his head, the word liberty to the left and the year 1968 to the right. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design added in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birth anniversary. If you look closely, you can see a tiny image of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, a detail that amazes collectors to this day. In 1968, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Here are the mintage numbers. Philadelphia, no mint mark, 1, 2.8 billion coins, and San Francisco, 258 million coins. The sheer number of coins minted means these aren't rare, but certain variations and errors can make them valuable. Error coins from 1968 are highly sought after. Notable errors include double die obverse. Look for doubling in the inscriptions "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Repunched mint mark RPM on San Francisco coins. This occurs when the mint mark was struck multiple times. Off-center strikes. These errors occur when the coin is misaligned during striking, making it a collector's treasure. If you spot one of these errors, you could be holding a coin worth $50 or more. In circulated condition, a 1968 Lincoln cent is typically worth face value. However, in uncirculated condition or with unique errors, the value can soar. Uncirculated coins are worth $5 to $20 depending on grade, while key errors can fetch $50 to over $500 for rare double dies. Collectors love 1968 cent for their affordability and potential to uncover valuable errors. Next, let's shift to the 1979 D Lincoln cent, another intriguing piece from the late 20th century. The year 1979 saw America grappling with economic challenges like the energy crisis and inflation. Despite these struggles, the Lincoln cent continued to serve as a humble yet iconic piece of U.S. currency. The 1979 D Lincoln cent sticks to Victor David Brenner's original design. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's profile, accompanied by "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1979. The D mint mark indicates it was struck in Denver. The reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, with United States of America and "E Pluribus Unum" inscribed above it. The Denver Mint produced an astounding 4.1 billion coins in 1979, making it one of the most common coins of the era. However, even among billions, some coins stand out. Collectors love to hunt for errors in 1979 cents. Notable errors include die cracks. Caused by a damaged die, these can appear as raised lines on the coin. Off-center strikes. Coins struck outside the center are highly collectible. Bildman's marks. Sometimes, the D appears faint or filled in due to a clogged die. Errors like these can fetch anywhere from $10 to $200, depending on their rarity. In circulated condition, 1979 D cents are generally worth face value, but in mint state grades, values climb. Coins in MS-65 condition can be worth $10 to $15, and error coins can sell for $50 to $300 for rare varieties. Collectors prize the 1979 D cent for its abundance and the thrill of uncovering hidden errors. In summary, the 1974, 1973, and 1979 D Lincoln cents may seem ordinary at first glance, but their history, design, and potential for discovery make them fascinating coins to study and collect. Whether you are searching for high-grade examples, rare errors, or simply enjoying the story behind these pennies, there is always something new to uncover. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into the world of coin collecting. Let us know in the comments which of these pennies is your favorite, and share any exciting finds you've made. Thanks for watching USA Coin, and happy collecting! Our journey begins in the early 19th century. By 1808, the US Mint faced a challenge. The design of the draped bust cent had become outdated, and it was time for a fresh look. Enter John Reich, a talented German-born engraver who brought a new vision to American coinage. In 1809, he introduced the classic head design, which featured Lady Liberty with curly hair held back by a headband inscribed with the word Liberty. This new design would become an iconic representation of the early American spirit. Design details of the 1809 large cent. The 1809 classic head large cent was minted in Philadelphia and is easily recognizable by its unique design features. On the obverse, we see Lady Liberty facing left, with her hair flowing freely and a headband that elegantly frames her face. The date, 1809, is inscribed at the bottom. Surrounding her are 13 stars, representing the original colonies. Flipping to the reverse side, the coin features a simple yet elegant wreath encircling the words 1 cent, with the inscription United States of America along the border. This classic simplicity is part of its timeless charm. Why the classic head design was short-lived. While the classic head design was admired, it faced significant production challenges. The US Mint used poor quality copper blanks, leading to rapid wear and corrosion. As a result, many of these coins were heavily damaged over time. The design only lasted until 1814, making the classic head cents relatively scarce today. Let's talk numbers. In 1809, approximately 1419000 classic head large cents were minted. While that may seem like a lot, many have not survived the test of time, especially in good condition. Due to the low-quality copper, it's challenging to find these coins in high grades today. That scarcity adds to their value among collectors. Now, let's get into what everyone wants to know: the value. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in its worth. Here's a quick breakdown. In good condition, an 1899 classic head large cent might fetch around $70 to $100. If you're lucky enough to find one in fine condition, you could see prices soar to $200 to $300. A well-preserved example in extremely fine XF40 can command prices of $700 to $1,000. And if you have an uncirculated MS60 or higher specimen, the value can easily exceed $3,000. Keep in mind, prices can fluctuate based on market demand and rarity, especially for high-grade examples. So, what should you look out for if you're on the hunt for an 1809 classic head large cent? Here are a few tips. Check the details. Look for a clear headband, distinct stars, and minimal wear on Lady Liberty's hair. Inspect the edges. Authentic coins should have reeded edges, and beware of counterfeits, which can have smoothed edges or irregularities. Consider grading. Having your coin graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC can significantly enhance its value. Did you know that the large cent was actually unpopular among the American public back in the early 1800s? The coin was considered too bulky for everyday use. It wasn't until the introduction of the smaller cent in 1857 that Americans fully embraced a more convenient form of currency. 2009 Lincoln Penny Bicentennial Cents. The year 2009 marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, which was first minted in 1909. To commemorate this momentous occasion, the US Mint released a set of 4 special pennies in 2009, known as the Lincoln Bicentennial Cents. Each of these pennies features a unique reverse design that highlights a different stage in Lincoln's life. These bicentennial pennies were struck at all 3 major mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, die, mint mark; and San Francisco, Smith mark for proof coins. The circulating versions were made with a composition of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. However, the San Francisco proof versions were struck on a higher quality copper alloy, similar to the original 1999 Lincoln cents. Rarity and variations, 130 minutes. While these coins were widely minted, there are a few rare varieties that collectors eagerly hunt for. The most sought-after versions are those with errors or high grades. Here are some key varieties to look for. Doubled die errors. Check for doubling on Lincoln's fingers, the inscriptions, or the log cabin design. These doubled dies can be quite valuable. Die cracks and cuds. Occasionally you'll find coins with die cracks or cuds, which can increase their value. High-grade coins. Uncirculated coins graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC can fetch significant premiums. For example, an MS67 Lincoln Bicentennial penny can sell for $50 to $100 depending on the specific design and condition. Now, let's talk about current values. As of 2024, circulated versions of these 2009 pennies typically hold only face value. However, uncirculated and proof versions can be worth more. Circulated coins, generally worth 1 cent, though higher quality ones may fetch a small premium from collectors. Uncirculated D and P mint coins in MS65 condition, these coins can be valued at around $2 to $5 each. San Francisco proof coins. These are highly collectible, especially in PR69 or PR70 condition. They can be valued between $10 or $25 or more. Error coins and high-grade examples. Error coins, especially doubled die varieties, can command anywhere from $50 to over $1,000 depending on the rarity and demand. High-grade M68 examples have been known to sell for upwards of $100 to $300. Remember, coin values can fluctuate based on market demand, so it's always a good idea to check recent auction results to get a sense of the latest prices. If you're looking to collect these 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies, here are a few tips. Condition is key. Look for uncirculated examples to add to your collection. Use proper storage. Store your coins in airtight holders to prevent oxidation, especially for proof versions. Examine for errors. Always check your change and rolls of pennies for rarer coins. 2009 penny value. The 2009 penny was released to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909. But here's the twist. The 2009 penny was special because it featured 4 different reverse designs, each representing a significant chapter in Lincoln's life. The idea was to commemorate Lincoln's incredible journey from a log cabin to the White House. Let's break down the designs and the meaning behind each one. The 2009 Lincoln penny came in 4 unique designs, each capturing a different part of his life story. Birth and early childhood in Kentucky. This design shows a log cabin, symbolizing Lincoln's humble beginnings in Kentucky. Formative years in Indiana. This penny depicts young Lincoln reading a book while sitting on a log, reflecting his self-education and thirst for knowledge. Professional life in Illinois. Here we see Lincoln standing in front of the Illinois state capitol, highlighting his career as a lawyer and statesman. Presidency in Washington, D.C. The final design features the unfinished Capitol dome, symbolizing a nation under construction during Lincoln's presidency. Each design beautifully illustrates a key chapter in Lincoln's journey, and collectors were thrilled to see this level of detail in a circulating coin. Now, let's talk about where these pennies were minted. The 2009 Lincoln pennies were produced at 3 locations. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Denver Mint, marked with a D. San Francisco Mint, marked with an S for proof coins. But here's where it gets interesting. These pennies were minted with 2 different compositions. Due to a shortage of copper during that time, most 2009 pennies were made from zinc with a thin copper coating, similar to other modern pennies. However, the San Francisco proof coins were struck with a 95% copper composition, which was a throwback to the original 99 pennies. All right, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for, the value of these coins. While most 2009 pennies you find in circulation might only be worth face value, there are some that can be worth much more, especially if they're in excellent condition. Here's what you should be on the lookout for. Value of the 2009 Presidency Lincoln Bicentennial Cent. 2009 was a significant year in the world of numismatics, as it marked the 200th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. To celebrate this bicentennial, the United States Mint released 4 different reverse designs of the Lincoln cent, each representing a key stage of Lincoln's life. The coin we're focusing on today is the final design in this series, the Presidency Cent, which commemorates Lincoln's years as president in Washington, D.C. This coin's reverse design depicts the U.S. Capitol dome under construction, symbolizing a nation undergoing transformation under Lincoln's leadership. Let's take a closer look at the coin's design. The obverse, or front side, features the classic portrait of Lincoln designed by Victor D. Brenner back in 1909. This design has remained largely unchanged for over a century. The reverse was designed by Susan Gamble and showcases the partially completed Capitol dome, symbolizing the challenges the United States faced during Lincoln's presidency, particularly the Civil War. This is a powerful design that captures the essence of Lincoln's dedication to unifying the nation during one of its most turbulent times. The 2009 Presidency Cent was struck in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, S; and San Francisco, S. The Philadelphia and Denver versions were produced for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint struck proof versions for collectors. If you're a collector, you'll definitely want to look out for the San Francisco proof coins, as they're made with a higher level of detail and quality. Unlike traditional Lincoln Cents that are made of a copper-coated zinc alloy, the 2009 bicentennial Lincoln Cents were struck using 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This was a special throwback to the original composition of the first Lincoln Cents minted in 1909.
Let's take a closer look at the coin itself. On the front, you'll see the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Above his head, it says Liberty, and the year 1951 is engraved below. On the reverse, you've got the iconic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. This design was used from 1909 until 1958, symbolizing the nation's agriculture and prosperity. And at the bottom, you'll see E pluribus unum and the mint mark EEMINT. So how much is a 1951 deed Lincoln wheat penny worth today? Well, the value depends on its condition, also known as its grade. In general, most 1951 deed pennies are worth only a few cents, sometimes as low as 5 to 10 cents if they're in well-worn condition. But if you've got one in better shape, it could be worth much more. For example, a 1951 D penny in good condition might only be worth around 10 to 15 cents. But if your coin is in MS 6063, which means it has very few marks or scratches, it could be worth $2 to $3. And if you find one in perfect, uncirculated condition, the value could be closer to $5 or more, depending on the market. Now here's a fun fact. The 1951 D Lincoln wheat penny was one of the more common coins produced in its series, but it's still sought after by collectors who specialize in Lincoln wheat cents. The more you learn about coin grading and preservation, the better you'll be at identifying valuable coins in your collection. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to appreciate the history behind this penny. When it was first minted, the United States was in the midst of post-war economic growth. The Lincoln wheat cent was a symbol of hard work and progress, with Lincoln's image representing the ideals of the nation. In 1951, the U.S. was in a time of transition, growing prosperity, new technologies, and the emergence of the baby boomer generation. The penny, though a small denomination, was part of daily life for Americans, helping shape the country's economy in the 20th century. 1935 wheat penny. Now, you're probably wondering, what about the 1935 version specifically? In the obverse of the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny, we see a profile of President Abraham Lincoln. This iconic image was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has remained one of the most recognizable portraits in U.S. coinage history. On the reverse, we have the 2 stalks of wheat, which is where the wheat penny gets its name. The reverse design remained unchanged from the coin's introduction in 1909 all the way through 1958, when the design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial. All right, now let's talk about the value of the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny. While it's not a rare coin in terms of mintage, its value can vary depending on the condition of the coin. In general, 1935 wheat penny in good condition might be worth around 10 to 15 cents. If the coin is in very fine condition, you could expect it to be worth about 50 cents to $1. However, if you have a mint state, uncirculated 1935 penny, its value could range from $3 to $5 or more, depending on the specifics. But it's important to keep in mind that certain factors can drive the value up or down. For example, the mint mark on the coin plays a significant role. Coins minted in different U.S. mints are marked with a letter to indicate where they were made. A 1935 penny with a D mint mark indicates it was minted in Denver, and one with an S mint mark was minted in San Francisco. Generally, 1935 pennies from Denver or San Francisco might be slightly rarer and could have a slightly higher value compared to those minted in Philadelphia, which doesn't have a mint mark. 1952 Dinkel and the Wheat Penny. The 1952 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny was struck at the Denver Mint. The D mint mark indicates it was made in Denver, and this coin is part of a long-running series that became an iconic symbol of American currency. Now let's look at some key facts about the 1952 D penny. The coin weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of most U.S. pennies. It's made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Show side-by-side comparison of different pennies for context. Oh, the most thing to note is that the 1952 D penny was produced in relatively large numbers, so it's not one of the rarest coins in the series. The Denver Mint produced over 120 million of these pennies. How to grade your 1952 Lincoln Wheat Penny. So what's the condition of your 1952 D penny? When it comes to coin collecting, the value can vary significantly based on the coin's grade or its condition. Let's take a quick look at some common grades for this coin. In general, a coin in good condition, meaning it has noticeable wear but still shows the basic design, might be worth around 5 to 10 cents. A coin in fine condition, with a bit more detail, could be worth 10 to 20 cents. Coins in uncirculated or mint state condition with very little to no wear can fetch significantly higher prices. 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny. In 1949, the San Francisco Mint struck around 41 million Lincoln Wheat Pennies, making the 1949 season relatively common in circulation. However, because it was produced in San Francisco, it's often sought after by collectors who specialize in mint mark varieties. The 1949 S Wheat Penny features the standard design with Lincoln on the front and the iconic 1 cent reverse. But it's the mint mark, the small s just below the date, that gives this coin its distinct identity. Now, let's talk value. A 1949's Lincoln Wheat Penny isn't necessarily worth a fortune, but the condition it's in can make a big difference. For example, in circulated condition, you can expect to find a 1949's penny worth around 10 to 25 cents. If your penny is in uncirculated condition, it could be worth $1 to $2 or more. And for high-grade examples, say an MS65 or better, the value can climb significantly, sometimes fetching up to $10 or more depending on demand. The key here is the condition. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Collecting the 1949 S Lincoln Wheat Penny is a great starting point for new coin collectors. It's affordable, historically significant, and not too difficult to find in good condition. Many collectors focus on building sets of Lincoln Wheat Pennies by year and mint mark, and the 1949 S is a must-have for any complete collection. Fun fact, did you know that the 1949 penny is sometimes considered a little more scarce than the other 49 mint marks? Even though there were millions struck, the San Francisco Mint produced fewer coins compared to other locations in the same year, so it's still a nice find for collectors. So whether you're just starting your collection or looking to add a rare gem to your stash, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny is an interesting and valuable piece of U.S. history. 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny. Now, let's fast forward to the 1940s. By this time, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had undergone a few design updates, but it remained largely unchanged throughout the 1930s and 1940s. The 1940s saw the U.S. through some major historical events, such as the Second World War, which set, these coins were a staple of everyday life during that time. Pennies minted in the 1940s were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but something changed halfway through the decade. Due to wartime material shortages, in 1943, the U.S. Mint switched to steel pennies coated with a zinc plating to save copper for military purposes. But for the most part, the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Pennies were made of the traditional copper alloy. Mint marks and varieties in the 1940s. Now, let's talk about the different mint marks you can find on these coins, which can affect the coin's value. The three primary mints producing pennies in the 1940s were located in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins minted in Philadelphia have no mint mark, while those minted in Denver have a D, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. Collectors often focus on the mints because of the different mintage numbers and rarities associated with each. For example, in 1940, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 800 million pennies, which means they are quite common. But in 1941, the Denver Mint produced just under 200 million, and the San Francisco Mint only produced about 20 million. This makes the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Pennies slightly rarer than others from that year. Value of the 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny. So, what are these pennies worth today? The value of a 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny depends on several factors, including its condition, rarity, and whether it's been graded by a professional service like the PCGS or NGC. To mint state, MS. In general, a typical 1940s Lincoln Wheat Penny in worn or circulated condition is worth only a few cents, but certain years or conditions can be more valuable. Let's break it down. A 1940 or 1941 penny in Good condition is usually worth about 5 to 10 cents. A 1943 steel penny is a rare find, with good condition examples going for 10 to 20 cents or more, depending on condition. The 1941 the M's penny can be worth anywhere from 25 cents to a few dollars, especially if it's in higher grades like MS65 or above. Rare varieties or high-grade specimens like an MS65 or better can sometimes fetch hundreds of dollars at auction, particularly for years like 1943 or 1944. How to grade your 1940s Lincoln Wheat penny. To get a better idea of the value of your 1940s Lincoln Wheat penny, it's important to know how to grade it. Coins are graded based on their condition, and the higher the grade, the more valuable the coin can be. Worn down with most details, faded but still recognizable. Some detail remains. The coin is well worn, but readable. Extra fine. More detail is visible with minimal wear. Uncirculated MSW bracelet. Oh, the coin has no wear, sharp details, and has never been in circulation. An uncirculated coin, especially one in a high grade, can be worth many times more than a well-worn example. If you're not sure how to grade your coins, it might be worth investing in a professional grading service. 1918 Lincoln and Wheat penny. But what makes a 1918 penny special? Well, aside from being part of that iconic series, 1918 marks a year in the midst of the First World War. It's a time when the U.S. was transitioning into the Roaring '20s, a period of great change both socially and economically. So, this penny carries a bit of that history in its metal. Mintage numbers and variations. In 1918, the U.S. Mint produced a substantial number of Lincoln Wheat pennies, with over 300 million coins struck. This includes both the Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver mint marks, and even a few from the San Francisco Mint that were part of the 1918 issue. So, what's the difference in value based on mint mark? Well, the 1918 penny from Philadelphia, without a mint mark, is the most common, while the Denver and San Francisco mints produced fewer coins, making those a bit more valuable, especially if they're in great condition. Value of the 1918 Lincoln Wheat penny. Now let's talk about value. If you're lucky enough to have a 1918 Lincoln Wheat penny in your collection, how much is it worth? In general, the 1918 penny is relatively affordable for most collectors. In good condition, it is usually worth between 50 cents and $1. However, the value increases dramatically depending on the grade. If you have one in fine or very fine condition, it could be worth anywhere from $2 to $5. And if you get into higher grades like extremely fine or uncirculated, the price could go up to $10 or more. But there's one important thing to note. Condition matters. Coins with little to no wear and good detail are worth a lot more than coins that have been heavily worn or scratched. So if you've got a high-quality 1918 penny, you could be looking at a real treasure. Another thing to keep in mind is that there are some rare varieties and error coins that can really increase the value of your 1918 penny. For example, there's a notable variety called the 1918/7D overdate. And this occurs when the mint mistakenly struck the 8th over the 7 on the Denver mint coin, and this can make it worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. These overdays are often hard to spot unless you're looking carefully, but if you come across one, it could be a huge find for your collection. How to spot a 1918 penny in your collection? So, how can you tell if you've got a 1918 penny in your collection? Well, first things first, check the date. Look closely for the clear 1918 inscription on the front. Next, inspect the mint mark, which can be found just below the date on the reverse side of the coin. Cut to a graphic showing the mint mark location on different 1918 coins. Remember, the Philadelphia coins will have no mint mark, the Denver coins will have a D, and the San Francisco ones will have an S below the date returned to camera holding a 1919 penny. Now, if you're looking for errors, it's a good idea to check for the 1918/7D overdate on any Denver mint coins, which can be a game